Medellin, a city rich in culture, a metropolis of around 3 million people, considered one of the most progressive cities in Latin America.
This city itself, Medellin, is actually one of the safest cities in Colombia.
Medellin has risen up from its well-documented troubled past.
I think that the city is just so vibrant and the people are so happy and so nice.
But more than 20 years ago, it was a different story. The face of the city wasn't the impressive public art, statues, and high-rising buildings you find today, but instead, it was this face, the face of drug lord Pablo Escobar. All through the 1980s and early 90s, Medellin was bombarded by problems strikingly similar to what we're seeing now in El Paso's sister city of Juarez, all created by the demand for illegal drugs. Most of the cocaine that passes through Ciudad Juarez and ultimately goes through El Paso and the rest of the United States is from right here in the country of Colombia. Thousands of people were murdered every year as Pablo Escobar's Medellin cartel battled it out with Colombia's Cali cartel, among others. And in our border's case, is the Sinaloa cartel at war with the Juarez cartel. At its worst, Medellin had a murder rate of 250 per 100,000 residents. And in Juarez, some observers estimate more than 200. October was the deadliest month ever here in Ciudad Juarez. More than 350 murders in all. Just imagine, to put that into perspective, that's more than 11 per day.
Pablo Escobar estaba bravo.
Veteran Medellin reporter Luis Alirio Calles describes Escobar as ruthless. He was the last TV reporter to interview Escobar before the drug lord was killed in 1993.
La guerra contra el narcotráfico ha sido dura.
Alirio Calles tells me the war against drug trafficking has been tough and bloody, with a high cost of money and lives.
Sufrimiento.
In Medellin, the killing went beyond those involved in the drug trade. Politicians, military, journalists, outspoken members of the community, countless police officers, innocent civilians, all targets. Remote-controlled car bombs were a common weapon used by Pablo Escobar. Entire blocks would be razed and dozens of innocent people would die. And now Mexico is feeling the effects of narco-terrorism, though on a smaller scale. In July, 4 people were killed in Juarez, including an officer and doctor lured to the scene when a car bomb exploded less than a mile from El Paso's Bowie High School.
First thing we saw in Medellin is that it is very much like the problem we have in Juarez.
Last year, then Juarez Mayor José Reyes Ferriz and other officials from our border visited Medellin in hopes of learning firsthand how the city turned itself around.
Medellin estaba marcada en el mapa con una estrella negra.
Medellin Mayor Alonso Salazar tells me Medellin was marked on the map with a black star. Nobody wanted to visit us.
Medellin.
But the situation has changed drastically here in Colombia, and for the better. Now, thousands of tourists make their way to Medellin every single week. After the assassination of Escobar and the systematic cleansing of drug organizations by government and paramilitary groups, Medellin began rebuilding. The strategy? Urban planning focused on social welfare, a crackdown on corruption, and reinforcement of police ranks. It's been touted as the Medellin miracle.
La ciudad pasó del miedo a la esperanza.
Alirio Calles tells me the city's fear transformed to hope.
I am very optimistic that we can do things in Juarez.
Now, life goes on and Medellin doesn't skip a beat. It's still a city with many areas that have yet to be rebuilt, creating opportunities by hammering a positive, progressive perspective into the heads of young and old.
And it is something that we're focusing on in Juarez to try and bring that same success to our city.
Taking the border back to the upbeat, booming, bustling Juarez of the past.